Alright, a wonderful good day everybody and welcome back to my channel. Got Shadow here and a small introduction to what you see here on your screen. Whenever I'm either bored, I need to relax, or I want to take my mind off of my work stuff, I just randomly start brewing, and that is how I ended up with blue-white spirits, which of course is a known entity, just not in the way that I'm playing it here with for Force of Virtue, which is a pretty neat addition. Also, Kia, Grey Glass Spinner, has been supreme. So I just want to showcase a league with blue-white spirits here, because although Grixis and Control in general, of course, is the most supreme art and form of Magic, sometimes you just want to have something that's a little more dull, a little more straightforward, so that you can also play it while, I don't know, you're listening to music or whatever. So main board is pretty streamlined here. We do have two caverns against Control. Spectral Sailor probably, like, I think Mausoleum Wanderer and Spectral Sailor are really what make the game, the deck going. Like, these two 1-drops are so insanely strong, and both have to be handled, otherwise they just, like, Spectral Sailor just runs away with the game once you draw like 2 or 3 cards, and Mausoleum Wanderer just packs a heavy punch and also makes you play around it all the time, so these two definitely get rid of those. Then I'm playing 4 Rattle Chains because I want to have the additional protection, which is pretty good. The only not good thing is that Rattle Chains actually doesn't work well with Kira. Once Kira is in play and Rattle Chains comes in, since you have to target a spirit and grant it hexproof, you're actually triggering Kira's activated ability, triggered ability here, of course, and so you're basically countering your own abilities there, making whatever you target vulnerable to removal. So that's the only thing that's really not so cool, but Kira has been overperforming because she can protect herself in comparison to Drogskull Captain, which of course is a better lord, but just for protective purposes, Kira is just so good, just really, really nice. Yeah, Force, this could also be Empyrean Eagle, I guess, but sometimes you just want to go under or make combat a little awkward or whatever, and so flashing these in is pretty good. Also, because there are some matchups where Path to Exile is just a dead card, and there you can just convert the white in order to just flash Force of Virtue out and increase the clock. That's like Tron, Amulet Titan, and so on and so on. In regards to the sideboard, we mainly want to fight. Well, we do have a problem with creature decks in general, I think, and therefore there might be a reasoning here to put dismembers into the sideboard, but for now we're just trying this with 4 Rest in Peace, 3 Rest in Peace, 3 Stonies, or 2 Stonies and 1 Kataki War's Wage, which is actually better than Stony, but I don't want to play multiples because it's legendary and doesn't stack. But especially against Urza decks, I think Kataki is just way, way better than Stony Silence, because Urza actually, you know, it's Urza's ability, of course, so it allows them to still generate mana, whereas here they have to, for each artifact, they have to pay or sacrifice it. And therefore, yeah, that ability, of course, cancels itself out to a certain degree. Then Damping Sphere, also against Tron, but I would say Tron is probably not the best matchup, even with Damping Sphere, but it really helps against Amulet Titan. So I mainly want to have it there. Then Teferi, very good against Control, of course, but also very good against mid-range and especially Death Shadow decks. And then Force of Negation just against Control, against anything that could be playing sweepers or is winning like Storm or whatever. So that's that for just this. Today is the Modern Format playoff in 5 hours that I'm gonna play as well. And here I won. Okay, play league. Yeah, so Pioneer, I don't know. I don't get comfortable with the format. Like, I don't enjoy the play patterns. I don't enjoy the meta. I think it's pretty lopsided for the most part. I do understand that certain people enjoy the format, don't get me wrong, and it's, still new, still flashy, and probably also Field of the Dead gets banned quite soon, or rather sooner than later, and therefore the meta might be opening up at a certain point. But right now, if it wasn't so pushed by Wizards and didn't have so much, support in terms of competitive play here, we had a PTQ, I think, every day this week. Yeah, I will start, and we do not have a 2-drop, and therefore we're a little slow here. Maybe we can peel one off the top, or another 1-drop would also be alright. But then, starting on turn 3, we have a pretty strong hand. And our opponent's also on a mulligan here. And even if he's packing a lot of removal, Maul and Haunt also does help a lot there. Could have also fetched here already. Just to thin the deck a little. But we don't yet know if we're... I think burn might be a problem. And there is Azorius Spirit, which, I don't know, nobody's playing. Azorius Herald. But I think it's pretty good. 4 life and can't be blocked. Does have a lot of matchups where it might be good, could be good. But we shall see. So something blue. So this might straight up be Urza already, which sucks a little. They're probably not playing any. I just want to pump the Wanderer here so that we just push through more damage here. Might be relevant at some point. And then we shall see if our opponent is ramping up here fast. Then I'm gonna keep Spellqueller up, and otherwise I'm gonna go with the Drogskull Captain here next turn. But we have to be wary of both Metallic Rebuke. If they leave mana open, I'm also gonna leave mana open. I'm not sure what our opponent's doing here, but still. So we're boarding in Force of Negation, I think. We're boarding into Fairies and Rest in Peace. Not Rest in Peace, Stony, of course. Excuse me, it's gotten a little cold. Over here. Alright. Pental Prism. Alright, so this is actually looking like this might be Paradoxical Outcome. I'm not sure if this is Paradoxical Outcome. Like, we have to go through a couple of things here, I think. Like, what do we lose to? Urza would, of course, be really, really bad. Paradoxical Outcome, I'm not sure if it would be too bad. Are we risking going with the Drogskull Captain here? No, we're not, right? It's probably a Metallic Rebuke back up here. We shall see. Yeah, it's not too bad because we still have Mausoleum Wanderer, of course. Alright, so we got the Urza there, and now we have 5 damage. So next turn could be lethal, and he's basically forced to play something. And we're pretty spread out here in terms of mana. So I don't see a reason why we should be expanding here. Again, Metallic Rebuke. Yeah. Alright, cool. So we probably need Path for Urza. I want to have Teferi. Force is pretty good here. Also want to have Kataki and both Stonies. I'm not sure. I think Rattle Chains is probably not super good here, but I also don't want to increase the curve too much. Probably gonna go and get rid of forces here and like one path, because there's basically only Urza, and potentially there might also be something like Psy. Astrolabe, sure. Since we don't need another white source here, I'm just gonna fetch for an island. Then we're gonna go with the Seachrome Coast, play Stony. Should be able to resolve that because of the Wanderer here. And then afterwards, we're gonna keep mana up again. Actually, I should probably attack first. That point of damage could always be decisive. And this could be a Metallic Rebuke, but then we just go with Alright. So we shut those two down. Now he needs to have... Yeah, he didn't find more lands here, which of course is problematic to a certain degree. He could have more Metallic Rebukes. But I think I'm just gonna try the Kira here. So now we have something on the battlefield, and we can keep up our Spell Queller. There's another Mausoleum Wanderer, which is always nice to have, especially if your opponent's choked on mana. And I think the only cards that I really want to prevent from doing anything here are Urza and Karn. Although I'm not even sure if Karn is a thing. Another Stony. Don't think that it really matters. I'm gonna play it nonetheless, because if he doesn't have Echoing Truth or something like that, then he shouldn't be able to get rid of both of them. And we have lethal next turn. So... Alright, so we're going to go with Spell Queller here, because again, Metallic Rebuke we can counter with Mausoleum Wanderer, in case he has it, and GG's. Alright, so, I think I need to stop the video here and start a new one, so, for us to not have any glitches, so I'll be back in just a second. Alright, welcome back here to round number 2. Round number 1 was a pretty fast beating here of our opponent on Urza. We didn't even get to know if he was banned Urza or with Okos or Thopter Sword. By the time that happened, or would have happened, he was dead already. Yeah, nonetheless, like Dead of Winter is certainly a good card there. Would have played around both Selfless Spirit and Kira, but not around Mausoleum Wanderer. So as I said, just a fantastic card, this little motherfucker. Cola man. Alright, sure. So Pioneer has, well, it's an awkward hand because it's not very strong, but we get onto the board quite quickly and we're on the draw, so I think it's a reasonable keep. And now we're playing in something red, but something red with goblins, which is double bad. So I'm going to play this Flooded Strand here, on the one hand to thin out the deck, on the other hand I don't want to show him that we're playing Spirits, and that we might actually be able to block the Skirk Prospector here, if we want to. Alright, and I think we're actually going to block here. Goblins has synergies that we just don't have. First Strike and Trample. I think I have to get rid of the Legion Loyalist here and not of the Skirk Prospector. And here, I think I'm just going to go with a Mausoleum Wanderer. And then we can flash in the Spectral Sailor, block the Skirk Prospector if we really want to. Only problem I see is that if he sacrifices the Prospector here to get like the 4-drop goblin there. Goblin War Chief. Alright. Goblins you control have haste, sure. Come on, attack me, Brait. Yeah, I think we're still gonna do it. And kill the War Chief here. Whatever we can break up, we should probably break up. And then we still have a Spectral Sailor up, with which we can then draw cards later. And actually, that was wrong. Like, thinning is correct, but now I actually want to have Hollowed Fountain here because of the potential of a Force of Virtue, but I don't want to be running into things here as well, so might be relevant. Just a Goblin War Chief probably is okay. Yep. Okay, we're definitely lucky here. So So Hallowed Fountain comes in tapped, then comes Selfless Spirit, with which could block, but currently we're still on the forefoot here, I think. Well, we've been flooding out a little. But now we can start just drawing cards here with the Spectral Sailor. This one is a problem, of course. Okay. Interesting. Spell Queller. So Spell Queller is extremely good to block, but now we have to be careful. So I think we definitely want to start blocking here. How can we kill him in 2 turns? We probably want to attack with 2 of these. Keep up Spell Queller, block something, don't die, and then Alpha Strike him next turn. Because right now we can't really die yet. That will have haste, which is problematic. No, we have to block that. Sadly, this one really fucks us over. Oh. We could be dying this turn, right? Four, 5. Without the Sling Gang Commander here, I think we would easily win. But if we don't draw, like I think on next turn I have to go and start digging for a path. What if we keep everything back here? He will only be attacking with like 2 or 3. My goodness. Alright, I think we're just attacking with the Selfless Spirit here. 1, 2, 3. He will sacrifice it at the beginning of his turn. So that's 4, 5, 6. 3 more gobos and we're dead. Can we Alpha Strike him next turn though? I think if we draw a Lord here, then even 6 additional damage won't do it. Okay, just a land. Oh no, not a Goblin Matron. Oh my goodness, yeah, that is the worst possible here. And I haven't played against goblins in like forever. Alright, yeah, now we're fucked. This is... so insanely unlucky. Alright, what do we want to have? So protection is not really necessary here. I do want to have Teferi, I guess. Just to bounce things in between, I get a little bit of leverage out of that. So I'm gonna get rid of Kira here. We can also pitch the ferry, so that's good. And I think everything else is just nothing that we want. Yep. Gonna keep Moorland Haunt, although probably not relevant in this particular matchup. If we had it last turn, we probably would have gone there, I guess. I'm not sure, maybe one needs to play some sort of sweeper in spirits, because humans is also not a good matchup, I think. Okay, we do have a path this time around. I think I just want to get the Selfless Spirit on the battlefield here. Attack for 3 and have a couple of good blockers up. He's paying? Yeah, I was like, no way. Of course, one of the best cards in this matchup is actually Spellquiller. He has to go after our Supreme Fan. Kept Aether Violin. That's good to know, at least. And now we're fucked by mana. Like, we play 2 colorless sources and we're drawing both here. Alright. That will at least give us something for this turn, I guess. Yeah, we need to go with blue, so I'm gonna play a Spectral Sailor here. And then fetch blue, so if he does have another munitions expert, so that we can actually protect our Supreme Phantasm. Golden Pile Driver, yes. Alright, so Rattle Chain's just coming in here. I'm not sure, so he must have... His next turn must be crazy. Alright, now we even have Force of Virtue, which is great. But I'm gonna put Lethal out here. We can not use it during our turn, sadly, because it's as worded as all the other forces, but next turn we definitely have Lethal then. So this is 4, 6, 9. We don't have Lethal anyway, so we're just attacking with 6, I think. Is it worth it to go with a Spectral Sailor here as well? Yeah, probably. We're still at 18 life. Goblin Piledriver is a problem, of course, but I think without a sling, like he needs to have a Slingan commander here. Or lieutenant or whatever it's called. Alright. So let's hope for a little bit better. I'm gonna go with a Kataki here. Potentially even don't have Estonia as well. As I said, like we can still pitch it to Teferi. But our opponent, like, we have a Stony. Yeah, I think we can keep that. Of course, hoping that our opponent is going to play and rely on Ethervile. Because if he is, then we might get him here. But he isn't, and that is actually a big problem. I'm not sure, our opponent could also be playing a Blood Moons or something of that sort. But now, any additional force of Virtue will just be using that Stony Silence. So I expect our opponent to have something here, either removal or something else. Basically can't have nothing, I guess. Spirits. Alright. So we're just going with the Rattle Chains here, which also can protect itself. Although that is very unlikely. Yes, this card is a big problem. Also, it deals to any target, so it can actually also kill spirits, our spirits, which is pretty fucked up, to be entirely honest. I think going with a Slingan commander here, going with a Droxel Captain, might expose us to a Slingan commander. He obviously has a couple of really strong cards in hand. So what I'm going to do is just attacking with the Rattle Chains here. Putting in the Selfless Spirit in order to protect the Drogskull Captain, and then killing the Peshlik Booty. Actually, maybe I shouldn't have done it this way. Maybe I should have just killed it in the draw step, because I wasn't aware. Okay, so he's not attacking first, so that's alright. Goblin Matron is somewhat annoying, but if he had attacked here, I would probably still have pathed it, I think. Or I would have just had to take the 2 damage there. In both scenarios, that would have been bad for me. So I'm not sure if our opponent now on the play, yeah, Slingan Command, this is the problematic card. So we could also just go with a Supreme Phantom here and Rattle Chains, but that costs us 2 life. We can protect our Druxel captain anyway, so I guess we're just going with this. Alright, so we have a good clock. The Sling Gang lieutenant is still very, very problematic, but hopefully it doesn't have something to get rid of our Druxel captain here. On that. Alright, there it is. Yeah, I knew it. Had he done it differently, it would have probably been better for us, but yeah, I'm gonna block. Sure. And there's the Force of Virtue, so again, we'll have it. Like, we could potentially Alpha Strike him next turn. This is 4. Depends on the cards in his hand, but up until now, I hope he's not having more of the Sling Gang stuff. Goblin War Chief is also not great for us, but we shall see. And there's the Ringleader. Hopefully that is not going to be relevant anymore here. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's at a virtual 11 here. We should be able to do that, right? That is 7, 9, 13, and then plus 4 at least. So we're dealing 17 next turn. Unless he has another, I don't know, yeah, something. Alright, but plays it tapped. Yeah, now we should be able to Alpha Strike him, sure. Alright, great second round, winning against Goblins here, which I think is not a good matchup for us, but I could be wrong. Some Spirits player should maybe comment in the comments. So I'll be back with round number 3 in just a second. Alright, here we go again with round number 3 and UV or Blue-White Spirits. So far, so good. I actually think no. Wait, I don't think there has been any situation where Force of Virtue would have actually been better than Empyrean Eagle, for instance, which could be an additional lore here, of course. But it also wasn't worse. That's important. Alright, we found a match here. And we're on the play, which is always great. And we're keeping, although the hand is a little bit mopey. But let's see. Scalding Torrent. Let's see if he's going after our Spectral Sailor here. If he is not, which he isn't, then we can protect it with the Rattle Chains. And Scalding Torrent, of course, might be a lot of things here. Could be a combo deck as well as a control deck. Blue Moon, whatever. Now we're playing against Grixis. Alright then. Let's see. What do you do with our Rattle Chains here? I don't actually mind if he kills the... Okay. Actually, Spectral Sailor is a little more important than... yeah. The only land that I want to see for the rest of the game is a Moorland Haunt. Nothing else. At least he's playing the full out Lightning Bolts. And I do think interesting. So you felt forced to do that here just because we could activate the Sailor starting next turn. So that is not a big deal here. Actually, pretty good exchange. Okay. And now it depends. We want to activate the Spectral Sailor. Probably we do. We can also flash in the Force of Virtue next turn. Exiling the Path here because I don't think against Grixis there just shouldn't be anything that we want to path. Certainly not the Snapcaster Mage. Now let's see what our opponent's actually playing here, like which kind of Grixis. If he's playing our list, or the one from Aspiring Spike. Okay. So I guess no cryptic command incoming. Feels like our opponent wants to do something here, but let's see. If this is a Kolaghan's command, that's still fine. Otherwise, I'm just gonna bring in the Force of Virtue here. Huh? Hello. So now it's actually better, like, if it doesn't get countered, of course. But with the Moorland Haunt on the battlefield, a Force of Virtue that our opponent can't get rid of unless he's also playing Brazen Bora, so he's playing our list here. Alright, so he's doing what we thought he'd do. He's going after Regil Chains again, which is a little bit awkward. Fine, I guess. Do we want to play the captain here? I guess with the captain on the battlefield, he won't be able to kill the Spectral Sailor anytime soon, which means that we can just draw cards and go with the Moorland Haunt. Unless he has another Snapcaster Mage here. Yeah, and I think right now I'm just gonna start pumping the spirits from the graveyard here. Another Snapcaster. So our opponent actually being really lucky here that he has 2 bolts and 2 snaps in hand. And I think I'm just gonna draw a card here. Rattle Chains is pretty good. Now even path becomes slightly alright. Could be a cryptic bouncing stuff. Now I'm just gonna bring in the Roxo Captain as well. So up until now it really looks like it's my list that our opponent's playing here. Alright, so I don't think that we can win here because we're dead to a creeping Tarfit next turn. And that should... Alright, we're bringing in Teferis here, getting rid of paths. And I want to have the forces as well. What do I not want to have here? The forces are pretty good here. Probably don't want to have all the forces of negation. So, by our opponent actually saying that he's playing a Sparring Spikes list here, I know that he's not playing discard, so I think I'm going to keep this. Just drawing one land here will enable us to almost play anything, and I'm going to go Force of Virtue, the Spell Queller, so that at that point just need to get a little lucky here. But it's somewhat poetic if we were losing against Grixis here, even if it's not our list. Yeah, of course he's hitting us. And hitting a land as well, which sucks. Great. Great. So if I'm gonna play the Supreme Phantom here, the only thing that he could have is... Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with a Phantom here. Because we're attacking for 4, and the Mausoleum Wanderer can of course protect the Supreme Phantom. Because our opponent's probably on a Drownal Law here. And if he's waiting for our turn, then we have Rattle Chains up again. For a potential blowout. So what I'm going to do now is, unless he has another drown, which could of course be, I'm just going to go upkeep here, play the Rattle Chains, because if he doesn't have a drown, then he can't counter the Rattle Chains, and he also can't kill our Supreme Phantom. But he does indeed have another drown, which is unfortunate. If he does have a Spell Snare as well now. Alright. Good thing is we're way out of bolt range. We're way out of... This is another Snapcaster again. Alright, so this already tells me something about our opponent here. Aside from now blowing him out. He's actually everything. He's just playing it in his main phase. Like all the Snapcasters, everything here. I have no clue why, but alright, let's attack here. So this must be a cryptic command coming. And this appears to be our opponent trying to race us. Sadly he milled the Moland Horn here, otherwise I don't think there would have been any problem, but... Alright. So I guess I'm just gonna play it now to play around counter magic. Of course he can kill it with a bolt, but then he has to redirect it, so we're saving a little bit of life, and we shall see. Don't think I'm gonna fetch here. Returning the snap. So I'm gonna fetch now. Spell Queller here, of course, would have been already lethal. But I guess this is alright. Could have also protected this, but flashing in a Selfless Spirit here. But we know he has a Snapcaster Mage and there is a drone coming, so that is that. Okay. That is weird. I might have no. Alright. So as I said, our opponent's playing a lot during his turn, and in my opinion, we should be playing more forces here. I think I'm going to cut a little bit on the Force of Virtue end of things. Although it's not bad in the matchup per se. Actually, maybe I should have brought in the Rest in Pieces. Yeah, probably should have brought in like one or two, to be entirely honest. Because it shuts off so much of his deck. Because he's not playing our list. Yeah. I think we need to mulligan. Fuck. Alright, keeping. And I think I'm gonna get rid of. Could of course get rid of the Force, but that really is good. Okay, let's get rid of the Force first. And hope for a couple of lands. So at least the good thing is that we really don't have to be worrying about counter magic. At least not right now. Moorland Haunt by itself were already pretty good. But in this scenario again, not the best, because we cannot play Teferi, and we cannot play anything or most else. And there is the Lightning Bolt, probably. No. Okay. There's the Field of Ruin, which of course is a downside for us in terms of caverns, but at least it since we're losing 2 cards anyway, I can still go with this. I'm actually not sure, like he's playing Dreadboars, I know about that, but we won't be able to play the Teferi up until the moment that he kills our caverns, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Now, potentially he's going after the Moorland Horn anyway with the field. I think he missed a land drop, right? No, he didn't. Not yet. What he sees? Tasker. Okay. Don't actually know if we should wait for Spellquiller to be good or just Get in for 3 damage a turn here. I think we need to have the clock. Selfless Spirit is not a bad card. Does give us a little bit of leverage. And now, or at least right now, any land is good. Any lord is good. Basically anything is good, so we shall see. Plague Engineer is a problem. Yeah, now we really do have a big issue because we're not bringing any. Just a little bit too late, I guess. So without a lord, the Moorland Haunt is just plain dead. And we also won't be winning the race here. But I also think, like, Plague Engineer is probably was the only out here that our opponent had. Don't think there was anything else. Okay, interesting. So now we would need a Teferi. And then something else. And now we're only drawing lands, alright. GG's. Losing to Grixis here. Somewhat close, but yeah. Our opponent definitely didn't draw bad cards there. So let's see how it goes in round number 4.